All right. It's been over 10 years since I've done regular videos, and I've had a few traders asking me if I'd consider doing them again. So I thought on a whim I'll knock one off tonight. Might be the only one I do in the next 10 years. Who knows, I might do a few more, but I'm going to try and keep them quick. So let's go. Let's see if I can knock one off. So we're going to have a look at 360. Was a catalyst play today, third quarter results. Please read the disclaimer. You know how it is. This is not advice. All right, so this is an hourly on 360. I want to look at some key levels to be aware of. So some key res around the $7 mark, a little around 660, 670 as well. So they're probably the two levels I think to the upside I want to be watching. To the downside, maybe 620 odd. It's bounced off that level a couple of times over the last few days, and $6 with some support as well. So they're the levels we want to consider. It closed at 650 odd yesterday. So we'll go to a full screen, open down a little. Look at the range in those first two bars. Got as high as 635-ish, as low as 580. So 55-cent odd range in 2 minutes, and thin as if you're watching the book. Obviously great range if it managed to get on the right side of a trade in there, but I would suggest your chances of some massive slippage if you were wrong was also pretty huge. So I'm not really that keen on getting involved there. I want that price discovery to get out of the way, and then see if I can find a move that looks more sustainable during the day. So the first, it's smashing through that 620 level. It's failing at the VWAP very, very early, which isn't really that important. I want to see how it behaves below that key $6 level. So smacked through on a 1 minute bar and reclaimed it. For what it's worth, I basically ignore those tails on those candles when I'm looking at any sort of meaningful levels. When it dips, it found some support a little above that, but found a bit of support over a few minutes with a little bit of volume kicking in. Just quickly, the lines you'll see on my 1 minute charts are almost always the same. The yellow is a 9 EMA, the pink's a 40 SMA, and the blue's a VWAP. It breaks the yellow, reclaims the VWAP and $6. We're probably 15 minutes in, 13 minutes in, so fairly quickly. So something I want to look at if I'm looking to effectively counter trade a downward move is I don't want to be trying to jump in front of something that is spending too long below the VWAP. You only need to look at the lithium plays today, for example. It took a long time to find a bottom, and we're below that line all day. So if I want to trade this to the upside, I want to see signs that it's going to hold that VWAP early or reclaim it. It does reclaim it early. It starts to fall back through. Now, if that had tracked along the bottom of that line for 10 minutes or so, like it did then, and then started to fail on volume to the downside, I'd actually probably look to short it. But it didn't. It held that, and the volume kicked in, and it broke back above. So that's the first. That there is the first real sign that maybe this has potential to recover. There's a bit of a drive there. It doesn't look like much, but it's actually 20 cents or so, I think. No, I'll probably tell a lie. It might be only 10, but anyway. Let's have a proper look at that. Yeah, that was off 605 and up into 625. So I was right, 20 cent move. And again, really shallow dip, holds a 9 EMA, and then another drive on some volume. So whether I'm aggressive in buying it off here or through that break, or waiting for a break of that first range, depends on a lot of things. Whether the broker first read sounded strong, whether the market's strong, how loved the stock is. They do tend to love 360 and forgive it for some ordinary results sometimes. Pardon me, where it is as far as daily support and resistance goes. So I know that 660 and 670 are still levels to the upside. So tight again, breaks through that initial high. Like I said, I don't really count these tails. You know, there was probably bugger all volume on that little move at the tail, and it was rejected so quickly I don't really count it as significant. Broke through and then falls back into this same range around the 620 mark, and we're past the 11 o'clock turn window, so I tend to count this section of the trade a little separately to the rest. Algos are way more prevalent after 11, after that turn window. Anyway, find some support along 620. Again, the volume kicks in, breaks back off the both moving averages now, the 40 and the 9, and I don't mind this point where they converge. Drives through previous highs at 6:30, and there's a really nice 30-cent drive there without a red candle. To me, that's the cleanest part of that trade. That's the lowest risk, nicest move of the trade. Depending on how scalpy I'm being, I'm either knocking some or all off in here. If I want to hold on, I'm probably giving the rest a chance to hold on the pink, which it does fail through for a couple of minutes there. I actually don't like being stopped out on, one little tick below a zone that I consider a stop, so I'll be watching this really closely as to whether I feel like it's failing and holding below before I might stop out. I wasn't in this trade, for what it's worth. I'm talking this one purely in from an onlooker. To me, that's, like I said, that's the easy part of the trade. If you were looking at what's next, this is 2 or 3 hours of really low volume, algo driven muck. You don't want to be trying to fine tune trading through that. You might stay in if you're long, but there's nothing there for me to want to be a part of. But late in the day, 2:30, maybe some broken notes start to hit. It breaks this tight range. Not a lot of volume. I'd prefer more if I was going to jump in there, but does break through that level. We're getting into that 660, 670 level that was some res earlier. Another shallow dip, doesn't breach the 40, breaks through those areas, and then almost respects the 9 EMA all the way to close. So another really nice drive there where you could have quite easily sized yourself to back under the pink or back under that level of support. So some really, really nice intraday setups that were kicked off by holding the VWAP very, very early in the trade. All right, slightly over 5 minutes, but that'll do. See you all.